Welcome to the Marvel Alliance podcast, where we cover anything and everything to do with the Marvel Universe. From the comics, TV, and movies, we will go from Earth 616 to the Mojoverse to the TVA in order to bring the Marvel Universe right to you. I'm the man without fear, Chris.
I'm the nerd with the mouth, David.
Alliance
A
Assemble.
symbol.
Volume 275. And after 2 weeks, I've returned from the previous week from my travels from Spain. I've survived. I did not go running with the bulls. Travel there was great. Travel back, a little dodgy at that point, trying to get back on time. Not my fault, though. Not my fault. There's a lot of security in Europe.
Yeah.
But happy to be back. And I was planning to go. We were planning to go live, and then Marvel decided to do what they always do, and they've got a big convention or something coming up. They're going to hold all that news for the next day, which again, I'm fine getting a little more rest in. But yeah, we've got a ton to break down. Marvel Studios did not disappoint. But yes, I'm very happy to be back. How are you doing, David? It's been a bit.
It has. I'm doing well. Just enjoying being back in the swing of things on this beautiful Thursday night. Yeah, Marvel.
Fall is in the air. How about you all? Fall is definitely here for us.
It is very bipolar weather here in the Midwest, of where we have 88 degrees today, and tomorrow, or no, Saturday, I think it's going to be 67, and then all next week it's going to be in the 60s, and then it could go back into the 80s and 90s right after that. The Midwest does not know what it wants to do.
Yes. Thank you for joining us, Fifth of Jack Gaming. Can't wait to see the awesome news. And yes, thank you for the welcoming back. Yes, happy to be back. I mean, again, travel to Spain, great trip, great hanging out with all my college buddies. It's been a bit, lots of fun memories, lots of new memories, lots of reminiscing. But I'm a big person that I love and miss my family, and so needless to say, it was a very happy reunion when I got to get home and give all my wife and my kids a big old hug. So.
Nice.
But yeah, so we have a ton to talk about. But I first want to, want to thank Mr. Travis Snell for coming on and subbing in for me and taking, taking back his co-hosting reins while I was out gallivanting the world. And it was a good show. It took me a couple of days to listen to it, but I really do appreciate it. But I got to address something he said. It kind of was interesting of something, and I kind of rewinded a couple of times to make sure I was hearing things correctly. He made it a point to wonder why I've never thanked him. At some point during the show. I always thank him when he does come on and co-host, but it sounded like there's a little bit more that he was looking for at that point. And, Travis, I have no problem thanking you at that point, as I have just done, thanking you for doing it. I'm not sure what other thanks you want at this point, but when you don't ask with respect, you're not going to get any respect back, and you know better. I'd like to think you're a much more polite guy. So I try to present myself as polite, but I'm not sure where this animosity all of a sudden is coming from. But again, thank you, my friend, for doing it. But I'm not sure what other thanks you're looking for that I haven't been always gracious enough to give. But I don't know I don't know where this is coming from. But hey, Travis likes having a little bit of fun, right?
Yeah,
And I can have fun back, but yes, you have to. You got to get a little respect with that, Travis. Come on, you got to be careful with that.
hashtag no kings.
Note who said that. Note who said that at this moment. All right, well, let's go with the network plugs. We are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network with 6 shows covering a wide range of geek and nerdom. To see the full schedule, check out the show notes below and subscribe to the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Twitter at GUA Pod Network so you know when all the shows drop. We also have a Patreon, so if you want to throw a couple of shekels our way, we've got 2 tiers, our $1 tiers, our tip jar to say, hey, you think we're doing a good job? And then we've got our $5 tier with ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon-exclusive shows, including our and Marvel Alliance. We got a couple of back shows in the back catalog, such as We Can Watch This All Day, the Marvel Alliance Infinity Saga rewatch, Tales from the House of X, where we rewatched all our favorite movies from the Fox era of X-Men, and then our recently wrapped-up show, the Baxter Broadcast, the Fantastic Four retro film reviews. All 4 Fantastic Four films, the unreleased Roger Corman produced one, Fantastic Four from 2005, Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer, and Fantastic Four AK Fan 4 Stick are all out there for the patrons who, as always, we can't do this without your support, so we want to thank you for that. Hope you're enjoying the DC Alliance guys go through their DC films through the years. Joe's pulling double duty right now. Sometimes daily duty, double duty. He's the man of Patreon when it comes to the drops. He's got always right now the Disney deep dives, the Disney dives where he on the 1st and the 15th he's looking at the animated classics from the Disney catalog in chronological order. He just dropped the most recent one, Beauty and the Beast. Great episode. I'm a huge fan of Beauty and the Beast, so you did a great job with that, Joe. And also he's in the middle of his 31 plus days of Halloween, and where he's doing a new drop every single day of Halloween classics, new and old. So you're doing the Lord's work there, Joe. So lots of back
hardworking man.
Yes, he is. He when does he not podcast? I think 2 a.m. on Tuesdays. But lots of back content. We hope you're enjoying that, patrons. And if you're not a member of our Patreon, want to get if you go to www.patreon.com/GUA network, we would love to have you become a patron. But if not a member of our Patreon, we can totally understand. But take 30 to 90 seconds and rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcast. We greatly appreciate it. And last but certainly not least, we want to thank our official sponsor, panelboundcomics.com, where you get all your collect editions, omnibus, deluxe editions for all your heart's content. They've got if you got 2 codes if you want to order from them. We use Marvel GUA at checkout to get $2 off every single order, or use the code MGUASIT to get 5% off when you order 4 or more books together. You got all these. Got a couple more days to lock in those pre-orders for some of these epic collections. We got some. Let's see. We got Dakin, Dark Wolverine omnibus, first time in a print. Incredible Hulk, The Return of the Monster. Thunderbolts, Dark Reign omnibus. Lots of great stuff, including Ultimate Fantastic Four Volume 2. I know that's on David's Christmas list, but as always, we want to thank them for being our official sponsor. And but yeah, all right, let's pull that down, and let me just say again, Mr. Travis Snell, thank you so much for doing what you need to do to come on this show and host for me. I hope that thanks is enough. What do you think, David? Is it enough? Is it enough? No, we don't need to do that at that point. I think it's a little too much. We don't. The man's ego is already that. But again, I will give you the respect you deserve when you come on and host. But right now, that's about it. You had a little stank on what you said. So again, be careful with that. Be careful. You got to be careful with that.
Yeah, I've got a stream with him this weekend, so I'm sure that I will hear all about it.
I'm sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe you can get some answers for me. He's not returning my messages at this point when I'm asking for all I'm getting is ghost. And I said, what did I do to deserve that? So, all right. So New York Comic-Con. Like we said, Marvel came out swinging, and they even came out swinging before, like typically they do. Sometimes Mr. Feige coming out and giving interviews. Well, it wasn't Mr. Feige coming out. It was Brad Windenbaum who gave an exclusive interview to Entertainment Weekly. So our first is going to be kind of breaking down that article and then going into the Marvel Studios panel that Brandon Davis hosted at that point with a lot of great news. So I got to wet that whistle first. All right. So we kind of break this down into categories. So we're going to start off with Wonder Man. We'll get to the trailer later, but here's some stuff about they said about Wonder Man. So they said not much has been released on this show yet, but I get a sense that this is going to be a meta show. How meta are we talking about here? Brad says, it's one of my favorite things I've ever been a part of the studio. I'll start there. It's very different than anything the studio's ever produced in terms of how meta it is. Without getting into details, it's a show that takes place within the MCU, but it's a story about Hollywood. And it's a story about not just Hollywood. I would say it's a story about acting and the journey of an actor in Hollywood, of having to balance being an artist with making money, and very grounded ideas that anyone came up with in Hollywood or in arts in general can relate to. I certainly could, and it gets very deep. So they say, is this the Marvel's version of the studio? So it's funny you should say that. We all obviously are as obsessed with that show. I think I personally have seen the show. I think it's great.
It's hilarious. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. Sometimes it cuts a little close to the bone, but it's funny and so great. Wonder Man is very different than the studio, actually. It's a different tonally. It's very sincere, and it's very focused on acting as a craft. The studio is really more about the big Hollywood system and the machine and the craziness that ensues. This is really very an intimate portrait of a young actor trying to live his dreams. And he said, "So am I right in saying that this is the brainchild of Destin Daniel Crinton, executive producer of this, and Andrew Guest, the head writer?" He says, "Yeah, Andrew Guest and I worked on Hawkeye. He's been around and really is an amazing writer, amazing craftsman, really understands the industry, and was able to dig into these characters. And Destin obviously is an amazing filmmaker. He's worked on Shang-Chi, and it really hews closer to more independent films. Short term, 12 is that kind of the genre. They've crafted something really special, really deep, and wonderful at times. It's for an MCU fan that knows the history of Trevor Slattery from Iron Man 3 to Shang-Chi to here. There's a very interesting 3-act structure for his character as well. I don't want to spoil anything. It is very sincere, very earnest, and it's not cynical." He says, so this is a two-hander, Simon and Trevor? He says, yes, they connect on their love for acting. Other than that, they're widely different people. Big surprise there. They do mention that when Yahya was actually at the First Steps premiere, they said Yahya did this in-character bit for Marvel Socials where he was playing Simon, saying he auditioned for this role of Wonder Man and loved the original Wonder Man when he was younger. Said, yeah, that's definitely a big part of the premise. It gives us a chance to step back at what we do and how we influence culture. So thinking about that, I mean, when we get to the trailer in a little bit, I understand what he's saying. It's very different, but I'm not saying who asked for this. I'm very confused about this concept at this point. Like, are we going to get is he playing this character Wonder Man, or is he going to be one of those where he's going to eventually get powers and be kind of like what Simon is in the comics, an actor who has powers? They haven't really said that. It's the way he's going, and I know he's playing things close to the chest. He's not going to reveal anything, but this is definitely right now the most out of left field thing for the MCU. And I'm not saying that's good. I'm not saying that's bad. It's just I'm scratching my head.
I very much agree. I was talking to Brent about this the other day. I have trouble just off of this realizing, is Yahya playing Simon Williams the actor or Simon Williams transitioning into Wonder Man? And even reading this article and reading the back and forth between him and Brad Winderbaum, like when he mentions the history of Trevor Slattery, that's not necessarily like a great thing. It had its comedic moments and it tied some stuff together, and it had like a little bit of a redemption arc from where it was in Iron Man 3 to where he ended up with in Shang-Chi, but he was never like that linchpin character that you were like, I need to see more of this. So that wasn't really a selling point to me. So it still does not give me any inkling of, is this just a buddy film about two burgeoning actors, or is this a Marvel superhero epic that we are used to, or somewhere in the middle with bits of both?
Yeah. So let's cue up this trailer and kind of talk about it as we get through this. So as always, we'll talk through this volumes down and closed captioning's on, but we'll talk you through it for our audio listeners. All right, the entertainment world is stunned, it says. We get a flash of Hollywood where this reclusive filmmaker is coming out of retirement to do a remake of Wonder Man, an old basically movie at that point. And, you see this character on the poster right here. Looks nothing like Simon Williams from the comics, but it doesn't have to. I'm just saying, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah. Other than the W on his chest, there's nothing.
Yeah, I like how the director's saying everyone is tired of superheroes. There's a whole opportunity to reimagine a whole genre storytelling. And this is part of this whole thing about being the quote unquote meta thing. It's just like I'm not sure I'm. That wasn't funny to me, and I'm not saying I'm not disagreeing. I'm not saying I'm offended. I'm saying that just didn't land for me.
Yeah. I agree. It seemed a little bit too on the nose to like nod and wink at the audience that it just didn't hit like I think that they thought it would.
Yeah. So we see kind of footage of, I guess, what was the original Wonder Man and all the, 70s glory of this costume, which is very reminiscent of Wonder Man from that era. What are your thoughts about casting? And then we get Trevor, and we get Simon Williams. And I like how Trevor said he's going to audition for Wonder Man.
Yeah. This, again, it gives the feel of a buddy movie than it does anything Marvel hero related.
Yeah. And so we get Simon telling his agent he's born to play this character. And his agent's like, "Are you serious?" Like I said, dropping Leo DiCaprio's name there. He's doing his little acting thing, getting prepped for it, and checking in and seeing everyone that's getting ready to audition. I'm trying to come up with a backstory of the character. I mean, I'm going to be interested to see how they play off each other. I mean, I like Yaya as an actor. I've always enjoyed him. I like this when they're seeing Trevor. I've seen him before. He said, "Yeah, I think he used to be a terrorist."
Yeah, that line did kind of give me a
Yes.
little bit of a smile. Like that's one of their jokes that did hit with
Yeah.
this.
That was I got a chuckle out of me. This is Simon Williams reading for Wonder Man. The callback is happening now. Just be normal. The breakdown is go method. And he gets welcomed into the house, and he thinks he's got the part, only to realize he's with Trevor, and there's other people here that got called back, including Trevor. And I'm sorry, they're making this guy look the, definitely going for the crazy reclusive director. They definitely got that idea. Combining nonfiction and fiction. Well, sure. We're going to make the last movie on Earth. No one will have the balls to make another. Whew. And action. Wonder Man. So, you don't know if he's got the part yet at all. And so all we know is an 8-episode series streaming January 27th. So we do not have confirmation. So that was the big news starting off. Like Wonder Man was going to be delayed until 2026. So now we have a date, January 27th. Now this does not confirm, nor did anyone say, is this dropping week by week? Are they dropping 3 episodes and then dropping the rest week by week? Or are they going to drop everything all at once? So we talked about this in the GOA chat that if they drop everything, if they drop it week by week, it's going to run up against Daredevil premiering in March. If they drop 3 episodes and then every episode after a week by week basis, it will run ending right before Daredevil, and then obviously to drop everything at once. I think from what we've heard rumors of the series, it's going to be kind of like 30-minute episodes. But I'm going to be honest with you, for selfish reasons, I mean, Echo was rough just doing, I think, what was it, 4 episodes?
Yeah.
4 episodes?
No, Echo was 6, I believe.
6. That was rough to do that. 8 episodes to drop, I get it, and I've said like they're just going to want to dump this and go. Dave and I are gonna have to talk to you how we're gonna review this.
Yeah, because even with it coming out on a Tuesday, that's still a lot of work.
Yeah, that's I don't know, and my guess is they're probably gonna say something. Come okay, episode Echo was 5. Okay, I couldn't remember. I knew yeah, it was something around there, um, but yeah, 8 episodes dropping all at once again. I don't. Again, this is the last movie of the Chapek. Get as much content at that point as they can, but I'm not excited for this series. I'm just going to be honest with you. I haven't been excited for this series since it was announced. Everything coming out of it, it just hasn't wowed me. I try to go in with, prove to me you're bad. I'm going to try to do that this one. But again, I'm being honest. I am not excited about this. And I can genuinely say this is probably one of the first Marvel projects I can genuinely say I have absolutely the lowest of low expectations for this.
Yeah.
But I'll be happy to be proven wrong. I really will. Again, I like Yaya as an actor. I think he does a great job. I just wish that. I don't. I will say this. I don't think anyone goes out and tries to put out bad quality stuff. But this one is just like in an era where, again, they were probably already far too along to cancel anything and things like that. But it's just, I don't understand what was going on in the room.
This I have two thoughts on this. Number one, with it being an 8 episode series and with its new release date, I am kind of hoping that they go the way of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man and release it in sections that fit the story. If you give me a 3-2-2-3, something like that, if you just kind of mix it up a little bit and for whatever matches the story, then I'm okay with that. Or if they do go with the binge, yeah, that's going to be nothing about this screams I want to binge this right now. And outside of that, again, there's nothing that's from what I've seen, nothing that's driving me to this. They better stick the landing or set up something for the future. If even if these characters aren't coming back, this has to have some sort of point that sticks it to the MCU, or what's the point? What's the point
Yeah.
other than you like Yaya, you like Ben Kingsley, you respect these guys, so you didn't want to cancel their project. And I mean, you shelved Blade forever. You could have shelved this. So that this better have something that ties in strong with what's coming up.
Yeah, we will just have to see. So, let's see. We've got Br Justin in the chat. Keep expectations low, and you can't be disappointed. Oh, thank you, MJ. I think it's in the same vein as Agatha. There's more to the plot when there's being promoted on the surface, but again, I don't. That's not a bad assessment at that point. But I mean, personally, I was more. The trailers for Agatha gave me a lot of hope, and plus, I was very much intrigued by the character of Agatha and enjoyed what they had to do. So yes, again, that one was just way more intriguing than that. But I do see what
Yeah.
you're saying.
I think
If I'll,
Agatha gave
go ahead.
us more bread. Agatha gave us more breadcrumbs. Agatha gave us the teen, which it was the story of, going into it, we knew that the teen was a big deal, and there was the speculation of, was he going to be one of Wanda's kids? You had to watch to find out. It gave you some reasons other than just Catherine Hahn is an amazing actress. Watch this show.
Yeah. He follows up by saying, I think it will follow the release schedule they've established with Ironheart, multi-episode weekly drops, probably over a 3-week fan. Yeah, I mean, we could do that. I mean, that would be good for us. I mean, again, it's 3 episodes at once. It's not great, but it's something that's way more doable than 8 episodes and trying to figure out.
Yeah.
So, but all right. Let us, before we get into the next one, let's take our first ad break and talk about more things we're actually very excited about. So, as you know, listeners, these ads help keep the light on in the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. We don't get to choose what ads come on, and they can be a bit loud, to give that 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. All right. So, as you see, I am very much decked out in my lovely Daredevil Born Again shirt. So let's talk about Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Now, with this, and then as we follow up with X-Men 97, we're going to continue on with this interview from Winnebaum that he's going to talk about. We'll also talk about what happened with the leaked trailer at that point, which we will not be showing. Sorry, guys. Just we're not aiming to be taken down at that point. But
Disney is very litigious.
yes, they are. So Winnebaum goes on as they go into Daredevil Born Again. He said, let's move on to Born Again. So far, one of the biggest updates is Kristen Ritter's involvement. Were there a lot of discussions about the very first Defender that what was it?
The very first Defender that you wanted to join Matt Murdock on the show.
Yep, sorry, my iPad kind of screwed up there for a second. Jessica is a great series. The first season with Purple Man I put up on there was the Marvels have ever done, and Kristen really embodies the character. We like the way Frank Castle played in the first season of Daredevil Born Again Season 1. Characters can come in the orbit and the greater universe. The first and best idea was to bring Kristen back and to have her be part of the resistance, and that Matt was trying to build in the midst of a lot of obstacles and duress of Fisk's New York. Next, the big question. We got Kristen Ritter. He asks, is Luke Cage and Danny Rand that far behind? He says, the less I say, the better. Dario, our showrunner, is trying to tell a story to great effect. That is, like Stan Lee said, a reflection of the world outside your window. The politics of New York are a big part of that story. It's clearly about a guy who runs around in a devil suit, but what is amazing about Dario's work is the intimacy of the interplay of all these characters and how he really treats New York and the world of City Hall and the groundswell of the characters' resistance around Fisk. I feel it like at times, like a fantasy of Game of Thrones or something. There's a Palance intrigue type storytelling that is really fun to read. I'm starting to watch the cuts. It's amazing, so I don't know if it's exactly about who's going to show up. It's a little deeper than that, and there are rewards to be had for fans. It's really about the stakes for this world and that Kingpin is building in New York. Entertainment Weekly says, I want to ask about Matt Lillard. When you think about Matt's character, you think of all his horror work. I was curious about his casting and any specifics that in regards to whose character is going to be. He says that he plays a man named Mr. Charles. The story is about power. When Wilson Fisk takes over New York, not just about as mayor, but as king in a way, it puts him in a new class of power players on the international stage. Matthew Lillard's character represents that. So he's a bit of a new antagonist on the field, but he's influential in many ways as Fisk is. That power negotiation is at a high level of politics and international diplomacy. So Mr. Charles is going to be a bad guy, but is going to be against Fisk. I imagine that conversation about if it's as big of a story affecting this much of the city, do we have to now bring in like Kamala Khan or Spider-Man or all these other New York-based heroes? Brad says, yeah, we are communicating a lot with the team of Spider-Man Brand New Day to make sure that there's coherence there. We don't want to spoil anything, but it's very much exists in the same world, and it is important. And it's important. We are in a shared universe together. And I would just say just the Daredevil, like the Daredevil comic books, the Punisher comic books depicted a certain tone and an idea of New York in a different way than Spider-Man. But they both exist in the same universe. It's similar. Everything lines up and impacts are felt. We are able to tell different stories. He said, brings up Eldon Henson, was at LA Comic-Con recently. He said something that everybody interpreted that he wasn't coming back in Daredevil Season 2. I wasn't sure if he's talking about Foggy not being alive. Could you clarify? He said, I actually haven't seen that quote, but I can tell you he is in Season 2. People don't know what they're allowed to say and what they're not allowed to say. Also, do I play coy? Do I be honest? It's always a dance. So that's the stuff about Daredevil. We'll talk about the leak stuff, what they revealed on stage later. So Eldon is back. We do see some of that in the leak trailer. We did get some confirmation about Brand New Day is occurring in the timeline after Born Again Season 2.
Yeah.
But so they're communicating with each other. So it sounds like there's going to be some sort of I'm not saying there's going to be a spider in Hell's Kitchen or a devil in the Queens, but you and I and many others are saying, come on, I want to see those two in costume together. We know we're getting Frank.
I will say that, one big thing that people always say, especially with Marvel movies, is, oh, you've got this big battle going on here. You've got this thing going on here. Where's all these other heroes that are based out of this city?
Yeah,
Well, at
we're
least
the
now,
Avengers.
now they're at least, taking that into account. Like, okay, well, we can't do this in this area of the city because in Spider-Man, he's going to be in that area of the city. So we need to make sure that these two things don't have any interactions that wouldn't make sense if they're in a shared universe. So I do like that. So they're not confirming that there is going to be a definitive crossover, but they are confirming that, hey, we are making sure that there are no conflicts between our story and their story or anything that throws off the timelines of each story. So I like that. I like that little hope. I like that dangling carrot of what could be, even though they can't say what is.
Yeah. I also, Luke Cage and Danny Rand, the question was asked. I have other ideas of other people I'd like to see. I've said it before. I'd love to see Luke Cage back over Danny Rand. And again, Colleen Wing. Give me Colleen back. We can continue on that journey, but we'll have to see.
I said that this week, actually. If I could only get one person from each show from Iron Fist, it would be Colleen. If I could only have one to represent that show, it's going to be Colleen.
I know, you don't want to be greedy, right? So, all right, so let's move on to what they talked about with X-Men 97 before we head into the panel. So, X-Men 97. Especially with the showrunner change, I think fans have a lot of questions about what to expect with Season 2. If the vibe and tone is going to be very similar to Season 1, or if it's going to be a new direction. What can you say about the continuation of this show under a new creative leadership? Brad says, well, first and foremost, it's actually the entire creative team. Same director, same producer, same cast, many of the same writers, and it's standing on the shoulders of giants. One thing that makes X-Men 97 work so well was that everybody's rowing in the exact same direction. Everyone that works on the show knows the original series inside and out, and we work very, very closely with Eric and Julia Lewald and Larry Houston, the creators of the original series. They're here all the time, reviewing material and talking about the artists, and the second season feels very much a worthy successor to the first season. They said Season 1 left us a very apocalyptic arrival and a very clear tease of Gambit serving as the Angel of Death. Is it fair to assume that the tease has a big implications for Season 2 story at large? Brad says, the tease certainly matters, and Apocalypse is a big part of Season 2. Ross Marquand was talking recently, basically teeing up that there's a lot of characters that die in Season 2. He said, I saw something about that. I would say that is the same that it has the same stakes as Season 1. I wouldn't characterize it as a lot of characters die. It's not Marvel Zombies, but like many great anime shows, like X-Men 97 Season 1, mortality's on the table, and some of these characters want to do what's right at any cost. And then, the elephant in the room, got to ask about Bo. Bo DeMeo has been sharing his side of his experiences in the story on social media pretty regularly. I recognize that this is an ongoing conversation being handled internally. What are your feelings on the matter and his exit? We've talked about this before. I'm grateful to Bo. We've launched a series together. I think he did excellent work. Frankly, I don't really look at it or read any of it, so I really don't know.
I believe everything but that last line.
Yes,
you had
really
me
don't.
Up until that last line.
Yep, that last line. Yeah. So, I mean, that's X-Men 97 is. I mean, we both have said many great things about it. I mean, there's a lot riding on this, and we know that from what we've understood, most of the Season 2 has remained intact. There wasn't too much in the sense of so I think it's going to be very curious to see when Bo starts tweeting again. When the series does come out, he's going to be, he's going to have words to say, and if something has changed, he's going to be the first one to call it out.
Yeah. He's not going to be quiet. We know he's not going to be quiet. This line by Brad Wunderbaum is the perfect company way of responding to this, so that you don't give any fuel to the fire. You don't give him any ammunition for his arsenal. So I get that, but I'm very much looking forward to it. X-Men 97 was an amazing show. I legitimately quoted it yesterday in a text message. So, that's just how good it was and how memorable it was. And, I will say that there are two characters in there who were right, and I stand by that. And I am so
Do you
happy
stand
that
by it?
they
I mean, if you're gonna stand by it, you better stand by who exactly you're calling out, because then I'm gonna call you out for saying, "Oh, you can't stand by your man." Okay.
Cyclops was right. His whole tirade with the news people, my man was on point. He was making some points.
I'll still stick.
Magneto
I'll still stick
Magneto
by
was
my.
right.
I'll stay by my point. Cyclops is wrong. He is. I will always stand by that point. But yes, Magneto. There's a lot to be said by that. You know.
Yeah, the amount of times I quote the line "Don't make me let you down,"
Yep. Yep. BR Justin saying, I can't believe we'll be getting an annual release of X-Men 97 starting next year, finally putting the IP to good use. Yes, and we'll break that down, that idea, and where we think we're headed to. So, all right. So let us head from the news article to the panel proper that was, again, moderated by Phase Heroes, Brandon Davis. Congratulations to him and getting that first time of getting to moderate a panel like this for Marvel Studios. So, all right, we're going to start off with Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Season 2. So, again, Brad Rennebaum was on stage with him, so a lot of this was coming from him. Season 2 will pick off right where Season 1 left off, with a major focus on Peter Parker's lore and history. Fans will remember Season 1's ending with the reveal that his father, Richard Parker, was alive and in jail as Aunt May paid him a visit. There will also be more action with symbiotes after the season ended with a tease for Venom. Attendees saw the first publicly released footage for Season 2, which confirmed Charlie Cox's return as the animated variant of Matt Murdock in Daredevil. Daredevil will return, and he will wear the classic costume of this time. Now, when Charlie Cox does come on stage for Daredevil 2, Brandon does ask him about, like, well, how is it cool to be in, seeing that suit with Spider-Man at that point. He meant the friendly with Spider-Man. I believe he wasn't trying to catch him at that point, but Charlie kind of stumbled a little bit over that one. So a lot of us are kind of watching. It's like, there's more there. I don't know. We're seeing something. Charlie's pretty good about it, but he caught him up in something.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about playing the dual role, the live action plus, voicing this character, is you got to be very, very careful of how you speak, and you need to be very exact on the things that you're talking about.
Yeah. I forgot to mention, when Brad talked about Marvel Zombies, he did follow up by saying, we did our job. We did our job with Marvel Zombies, listeners and watchers. Get ready for. He basically said, we did our job. That's basically as much of a conversation. We're gonna get Marvel Zombies Season 2.
Yep.
So that was a nice surprise to get that confirmed. But anyways, continuing on with Very Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, said additionally, Season 2 will deliver the MCU's first adaptation of Gwen Stacy as Peter Parker. Asks the character, "What do I call you?" She responds with a simple Gwen, confirming the classic love interest inclusion. The footage included a new look at Otto Octavius, better known as to fans as Doc Ock, and the alien symbiote Venom. Peter Parker returns to Oscorp to find the symbiote before striking a deal with Norman Osborn. The trailer closes with Robbie Robertson falling off of a roof, a la Gwen Stacy in Amazing Spider-Man 2, and it cuts right before Spider-Man catches him. In this section, Winnebaum hyped up Venom by telling the audience fans of Venom should get excited. No official release date outside of the time period. It will come out fall of 2026.
Yeah. I'm excited for Venom.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. I mean, it's Venom.
Yep. Pivot Jack saying he can't wait for X-Men 97. But yeah, I think Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, after that first couple of episodes that dropped, it really surprised me.
Yeah.
They really upped the ante. That was a show that I was saying, okay, it's Spider-Man. I'm gonna give it a shot. I want to see what it does, and they went some directions that I was pretty impressed with. Still, X-Men '97 is at the top with when it comes to the animation, but this one had a good idea that for a while we haven't seen a kind of a Peter Parker like this. And I don't want to equate Tom Holland like this. This is a different Peter Parker, and I'm okay with that. I like seeing this what Steve Ditko and Stan Lee did. This does a good job channeling that while bringing some kind of modern flair to it. So I'm excited when it does come out. I have a lot of high hopes for what they built to it and where it's coming from.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to X-Men '97. Season 3 is already in production. Brad Winterbaum says Season 3 will be teed up in a massive way by the events of Season 2. In the new trailer, which David and I have seen the leak footage for it at that point, and we do see Apocalypse, who will be one of the main villains for these new episodes. The X-Men are confirmed to be scattered across the past and future as they look to get back to their time period in the 90s, as described by Bishop. We gotta bring the X-Men back to the 90s. I kind of chuckled at that one and said,
so cheesy.
I know, yeah, so cheesy. Jean Grey's got Summer's son. Nathan Summers has grown into a teenager as well. We did see our first look at Wolverine back in costume with bone claws, saying "I'm back." We do see. I found it interesting. We got the Grant Morrison new X-Men costumes at that point, and I found it interesting, like Jean doing kind of like telekinetic Wolverine claws, like. That was an interesting, and like using it like Scott to like kind of fan out the his optic blast. We get like footage of like X-Force and Forge. Morph is back. It was, we got a lot of good. I mean, again, we can't knock it out. So this one, season 2 will release in summer 2026. Yes. So we got a lot to be excited for summer.
It's going to be a busy summer, which means that we will not be having to want for anything for a while. So this time when we get those no news breaks, it will be more of a reprieve than it is Marvel's just holding out on us.
Yeah. BR Justin saying, I think the 90s line was intentionally cheesy. A callback to, oh yeah, it was. I mean, again, I'm here for it. It was just interesting hearing it come from Bishop,
Yeah.
All right, so Daredevil Born Again Season 2 is confirmed to debut in March of 2026. I think we have a sort of confirmation or sort of pretty strong feeling like it's going to come out that first week. I want to say March 4th is the date now looking at it. I don't have that in front of me right now, so if you want to see if you can pull back up. But right now we are confirming early March. Fans got to see the first trailer, as did David and I, for the new season, which offered plenty of new details. And Charlie Cox and Kristen Ritter came on stage. Karen Page and Matt Murdock rekindled the romantic relationship built during the original Daredevil series on Netflix. That's all I got to say to that. Getting milkshakes in a diner before kissing and dancing. Matt is also attacked by something sonic in nature. Other shots highlighted Vincent D'Onofrio's Winslow Fisk boxing in the gym. He appears to have an underground prison similar to what fans saw at the end of season 1. There's also a flashback to look at Eldon Henson's Foggy Nelson because he's got that long hair versus where we saw him all crew cut. So again, we're getting flashbacks. We don't know if we're going to get him back alive at that point, but we're at least getting him in a flashback. Okay, so Man Without Fear will release on March 4th. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Kristen Ritter's Jessica Jones shows up in her first action for Marvel Studios since 2019. Ritter also has called it surreal to return to the MCU, feeling as if no time has passed. She did confirm there is a group chat with her and the Defenders. Charlie Cox and their families are very, very close. They're very, very good friends. So they're very good friends with each other, and so it's fun getting to act with your friends. Davis also discussed assembling a team to defend New York City. teasing a potential Defenders reunion after Netflix's Defender saga ended in 2019. Charlie Cox seemed to agree with the sentiment, but fans still have to wait for characters like Luke Cage or Iron Fist to join the mix. Footage also includes Wilson Bethel as Bullseye, but he was not wearing the costume used in season 1. It will take place. Okay, so Daredevil Born Again season 2 takes place before Brand New Day.
Yes.
So it was very cool seeing that footage, and seeing finally, even though we saw it while it was already filming season 2, getting to see Daredevil having the DD on his chest finally.
Yeah, and he did an interview where he said he felt like it was earned, having the chance to, as he kept referring to it, the double D's on his chest. He said that it felt earned.
It did feel earned. So we're like, okay. I mean, I'm kind of going out of order of the panel, but they started with Daredevil, and they're like, man, you're starting with Daredevil. What are you going to end with? Well, They took an interesting turn and ended with talking about Vision Quest. So they Winnebaum and Davis brought up Vision star Paul Bettany to share some new information about Vision Quest, including confirming the show's title. This will mark the third and final chapter in the WandaVision quote-unquote trilogy. So we've got WandaVision, we got Agatha All Along, and Vision Quest will be the conclusion of that. Bettany discussed the show by detailing how Red Vision gives White Vision. We're going to call it, I like how they're calling it Hex Vision and Snow Vision, all of his memories, including everything that happened in Wanda Maximoff's Hex during the 2021's WandaVision. However, Snow Vision struggles to connect with those memories and lacks the emotions or feelings associated with them. According to Bettany, Snow Vision's journey through the show is trying to connect with those memories. A short trailer revealed, and this is one I haven't seen yet. I haven't seen that footage come out yet. Have you, David?
I have not been able to find that footage. I've looked, but I've not been able to find that footage.
So a short trailer revealed many of the show's new cast members who play human forms of some of the MCU's many notable AI systems, including Henry Lewis, who plays Dummy from the Iron Man saga. So we're going to get a human version of that. We're going to get Jonathan Sayer portrays you. Orla Brady embraces the role of Friday. And Emily Hampshire joins the show as Edith from Spider-Man Far From Home. So they're all going to be in human form. Additionally, James Darcy makes his grand return to the MCU as Jarvis, where he first played both seasons in that role of Agent Carter, and returning in Avengers Endgame. Finally, the man of the hour, the man who I love seeing on screen and just love just everything about it, just oozes this coolness. Finally, James Spader takes on his first MCU project in more than a decade, reprising his role as Ultron, also in human form.
I'm so excited about that. Excited about that.
So the footage concluded with a quick look at Rudek Mulka as CCTV recording, where he is identified as Thomas Shepard. Fans will recognize that as the reincarnated version of Tommy Maximoff, also known as Speed, Billy Maximoff's twin brother and Wanda's other son. So, will we see a reuniting of Billy and Tommy?
We've had the revelation with the teen, and now we're gonna get this. This is supposed to be the culmination. So, I mean, I think it's only right that you end with them two coming together.
Yep. So they did not give a date outside of this is just releasing sometime in 2026. So if we know it's not going to be the first half, so my guess is this is going to be a fall release. You know, if we're saying we got Wonder Man January, Daredevil March, X-Men 97 in the spring, in the summer, and then we've got a Friendly Neighborhood in the fall. This is going to be probably late fall, early winter.
Yeah.
But they said the first footage evoked the same eerie tones as WandaVision.
Yeah. I would suspect somewhere around an October release for this, just going off of how they normally space out their shows, I could see something around an October release, especially if they're not doing another zombies this year or anything else that they have lined up in that category.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So, but yeah, that was the panel. A lot of very interesting stuff, and gets us excited for what the future is. So I definitely think that was a home run for Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
So I do like it that they've taken kind of New York Comic Con as their, television premiere stuff. That's kind of good.
Yeah, and it gives you something to look forward to. I mean, everyone knows about San Diego Comic Con, Hall H, and things like that, but then knowing that, okay, New York Comic Con, we're giving you some exclusives, and the fact that so many of the characters within the Marvel universe are based out of New York, like you've got that tie to that as well.
Gotcha. But all right, so that was all the news from New York Comic Con. So we're gonna take our final ad break for the evening. So as you know, listeners, these ads help keep the lights on the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. We don't get to choose what ads come on, and they could be a bit loud. So give it that 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. All right, so let us get into, as always, I put out the Spidey signal, as it were, on in the afternoons on Wednesdays. So you all, we got a factor of fiction, so we'll hold that off till that point. But it looks like you got someone coming in.
Yeah, so we had a question come in literally right as we were about to go live. This hit my DMs, and it is from Jim Scroggs saying, "Which MCU character would have the best wrestling entrance, and what would their song be?"
Oh, jeez. I wish I had a little more time to think about that. I got to think of that on the fly. Why don't you go
So
first, maybe?
I am going to go with a cheap and easy answer, but it makes sense, and I'm going to say it's going to be Thor. It's going to
Okay.
specifically be Party Thor. He's going to come down to Thunderstruck, but I think that he will use his powers to set off the pyro. Like, this won't be a guy standing in the back hitting a button to set off the pyro. No, his lightning is going to come down, and he's going to make the explosions, and he's going to have this party jumping all on his own as he takes the longest Roman Reigns style entrance. It's 16 minutes to get to the ring, but it is going to be a party.
See, you had to go Thor. I was gonna go Beta Ray Bill, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm not, but I will go a different way. I will go with I I know I may be alone in this one, and that's okay. I'll be an island of myself. I was always a big. I actually was a fan of the swerve they did with Undertaker as the when he went kind of biker Undertaker. I actually I did like that. But along the same vein, um, who would a good wrestler? How about you know, my man Danny Ketch Ghost Rider coming down in that flames, and we're gonna have his entrance music be a little bit of AC/DC Highway to Hell.
Oh, that is a good one.
So yeah, I was gonna go with that. Danny
That
Ketch was my Ghost Rider. So
Yes, no, that is definitely a good one. And I can see it with the flames and everything.
hmm
And yeah, I'm here for that one. That's good.
all right. So well, thank you, Jim, for coming in with that one. So let us head into Factor Fiction. So from a couple weeks ago, these are coming from Mr. Snell. Should I thank him again? No, I don't. I don't want to thank him again. I'm not gonna thank him. Yeah, he doesn't need to be thanked. So, Factor Fiction number 1, Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars will make $4 billion combined. 47% said fact, 53% said fiction. So let me see. We'll make $4 billion combined. Yeah, I'm gonna be a fiction on that one. I'm gonna be fiction. Might come close.
No.
All right, number 2. We won't get a Young Avengers or Champions live-action project of any sort within the next 5 years. 55% said fact, 45% said fiction. Hart wants it, but we're starting to get aged out of this.
I mean, if we're getting Billy and Tommy though, maybe.
I mean, again, I'm not going to turn down seeing Haley Steinfeld lead the team, but, number 3, last one. Mahershala Ali will appear in Avengers Secret Wars. 17% said fact, 83% said fiction. Probably not. Probably not. Yep. All right, so my turn this week. So number 1, Wanda / Scarlet Witch will not appear in Vision Quest in new footage. We will only, if we do see anything of Wanda or Scarlet Witch, it'll just be in repurposed footage. So we will not see her in any new footage in Vision Quest.
I will go fact on that.
I'm along with you on that one. The heart
they'll
hates it.
save her. I think that if they're going to bring her back, fully bring her back, that they are going to save her for something bigger.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Heart wants it, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna be in the cards. She's still dead. Dead as a doornail. Wolf's on her. And you know what? I put it out there. I'm gonna put it out there. Proper for a fact of fiction. Colleen Wing will return to Daredevil Born Again Season 2 as the new Iron Fist. It's going to happen. I'm putting it out there. It's going to happen. That's going to be the big surprise. That's going to be one of the big surprises coming out.
I'm so 50-50 on this, but just because my heart wants it, I am going to say fact. I can see them in the middle of a battle. A glowing fist punches through. They think it's Danny and it's Colleen, and I'm going to just jump out of my seat with joy.
Yep. All right. And finally, we will see a major team member of the X-Men die in X-Men 97 and not be resurrected. Like, they're dead. We're not no resurrections, no do-overs. This team member from the X-Men will be dead.
I am going to say fact on that.
Yeah. So, yep, I'm a fact as well. I think someone's going to stay dead this time. Cyclops. And that's what he will be right about. Dead.
Death is where he is right.
He is right in death. Right there. Jean cry over it while Logan is. And, oh, so sorry, Scott. Let me just put my arm around you there, Jeannie.
Let me comfort you.
Yes, let me comfort you. So, all right. And then we have Anthony Dorsey coming on Threads for a fact or fiction he wanted to add, saying Turk Barrett will return in Daredevil Born Again Season 2. So the Turk was kind of one who kind of had a lot of through lines through a number of the Defenders series. Kind of like a little down on his luck crew member and things like that. So,
yeah. I want it. So yeah, because he was the linchpin. He's the anchor point of the Defenders universe. It's Turk.
Yeah, the Turk is there. I do like this new person coming into the chat. Marvel was a dud in NYCC. DC crushed it this year with Vertigo. Well, yes, on the comic side, I will agree with you on that. Marvel didn't have too much on the comic side that I got excited about, but DC Studios didn't come to really NC and New York Comic Con. But yes, you are right. DC Comics crushed it when it came to the drops and everything like that.
I feel like to that point, Marvel didn't have to crush it in the comics section, and without anything big coming up, DC had to put on a showing with their comics. They had to bring in KO and what's going on with Batman and the Bat Family. They had to bring in some of their other stuff to kind of position themselves in that comic book realm.
And one of the big things besides Vertigo coming out and being properly put in there, we get the Swamp Thing issues that have been legendary, that have been put into lore. DC Comics is putting out the ending of the run of Ron Vetch's where Swamp Thing meets Jesus. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, these are the issues that we've been waiting on. We've seen little things, but the fact that DC's finally putting it out, oh my gosh, I can't wait for the conclusion of that. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's your DC talk on Marvel Alliance. All right, so I will put those out on Sunday afternoon. Let your voices be heard, and let us get into our comic book club with Spider-Man Life Story: The '70s. So we left off with Gwen finding out that Peter is Spider-Man when he's on the train station. We definitely got a big flash forward. No pun intended about how we're opening this. Peter's got older. You got Gwen with kind of a new haircut. They are married, and he's in front of a gravesite that he's kind of telling everything that's kind of happened since then. And it seems to be that Flash Thompson has passed away. And looks to be he might have been killed in action in Vietnam.
Yeah. It while you were reading it, it gave off this is the speech that he would have in front of Uncle Ben's grave. But yeah, we cut to Flash, we cut to the guilt that he was holding on from the first issue about his great power and not being there for Flash. So this was a big jump, yeah, because we go straight into 1977. When we did this with Fantastic Four, it was incremental jumps, a couple of years here and there, but this is a huge jump forward.
And also, we're not chasing Galactus, right? Remember, Galactus is coming. God forbid. And we see that Peter's working with Reed Richards with a lot of white on his hair, a lot of rocking the goatee at that point. And Peter's definitely, we see Doc Ock is there, now a reformed villain working with the Future Foundation. And Doc Ock being the voice of reason to Reed's kind of, Reed being Reed, as their words. And Peter just saying, why can't we do more,
Yeah, Reed is even in this version still the not looking at humanity through empathetic eyes. He has his thought process. He has where his brain's going, and that's just it. And the fact that he and Peter just keep getting into these ideology back and forth, and Doc Ock is the peacekeeper among the two. It's a dynamic that you didn't see coming.
Yeah. But we see Harry visiting Norman in prison and just, commenting on how he's been leading the company, but telling him that he needs to, the Gemini Project is out of control. I need you to rescue it and rescue the asset before it's lost. He's like, no, I'm not doing this. He just listen. It's my life's work. And I've got one more secret to tell you. And we're just saying, oh, God, he's going to tell him about Peter.
Yep.
But we see Peter then go meet Gwen at the lab that she's working at with this, the the very interesting Professor Warren, and we kind of know who Warren is in the proper MCU, and he kind of says, Peter, you should also work for us at that point. It'd be great. And he's like, oh, that'd be great. Pulling in some more money and things like that, and just the staring at they have as they walk away as a couple is just like. I don't like where this is going.
Yeah, there's some definite if you know foreshadowing going on here.
Yep. So Peter's making his way. He's got to meet up with MJ, and as Harry's there, and MJ's living her best life, dancing, drinking, and everything. And there's Harry. Not quieting the uppers and downers cowboy. I like how we're kind of calling it out that he's, they're living their 70s life.
Yeah.
And, he tells MJ saying, or asks, are you and Harry okay? And then MJ just lights him up saying, yeah, we're perfect. We can't all be like you and Gwen and everything like that. Why don't you, maybe it's like you should have, Wallem regrets at that point, but you had all this power. You could have saved. Basically, she calls out, you could have saved Flash, and he just stops and just is like, uh-oh. It's like, I know. I've known since I was 15. that you were Spider-Man, but you decide to spend a decade in your own club outfit playing your own clown, convincing yourself. I was like, geez, MJ, wow.
She went in on him like that was a lot of repressed anger and frustration. She lit up to him, and in the middle of a crowded dance floor at Studio 54 at that. So
Yeah, so we flash back to Peter looking kind of rough, going in early to work with Reed at that point, and he even goes off on Reed. And Peter's just not making great about anything at that point. And this is where it lands. He says, "So you're so not human, that even your wife left you for a man who lives under the sea." And bam! He says, "Even my spider senses knew it was coming, and I just let him have that one. Least I could do."
yeah, you know what? Peter deserved that hit. Like
Oh yeah, he did.
yeah, we're both making some points, but Peter, you earned that. Now I will say, I thought that the way that Reed responded with some of his points when he was breaking down, yeah, I could solve the problem of not enough people having clothes, and then I ruin a multi-billion-dollar clothing
Yeah,
industry, and people are out of jobs.
Reed actually making sense, and
And
that's what
it's
a lot
like,
of
oh,
heroes say. How the heroes say, like, I can't play God.
yeah. So that was a moment right there that kind of put certain things in perspective of, yeah, I can't just invent this and make this thing go away, because if I do, then how many people in the textile industry are out of a job? How many people in this arena are out of a job and things like that? So
Yeah.
that made a lot of sense. But yeah, Peter had tried to get his words off, and he deservedly so got that slap across the face.
Yep, consequences coming. So we flash to Harry waking up. Say, did I have a good time? MJ's like, yeah. And he says, was I stupid? It's not you. It was Peter. Peter made some comments. I'll talk to him later. And it looks like Norman calls him. He says, Dad, of course I'm ready. And like Peter's beating himself up. And it's interesting, kind of his suit. He's kind of got these kind of metal, like kind of gauntlets and protections there. It's kind of interesting when I read it. I was like, where did those all of a sudden come from? And then we flash to the Gwen and at her job, and then we get a busting through. The Black Goblin comes in, and I was like, okay, that's a choice. And Peter, Spider-Man fights him. I'll show you what you're looking for. Just blowing up stuff, and the bomb reveals that
Miles
Buster-
Warren is at it again.
Yep, and Professor Warren is there's a Peter body, there's a Norman body. I mean, excuse me, a Harry body, and there's a Gwen body, and he was like, "You were supposed to just be my father. Why the other two?" He says, he wanted a clone of himself to pin his crimes on, but he also wanted one of Peter, and I don't know why. But why me?" And Peter Parker, he wanted Peter to be his heir, even after all this time. It's always about you, so they get a big fight going on, and Gwen suddenly realized, oh, Warren said, I wanted him all to my, or wanted you all to myself. At that point, it's like, oh, we're getting real creepy.
Yeah, that took a turn for a mentor mentee relationship when he was saying, I made a clone because the clone was supposed to stick around and I was going to take the real one to be with me, which is not something you really hear in these situations. A lot of times people like take the clone because they can mold their thoughts. He's like, no, I want the real thing. I was going to leave Peter with the clone. I want the real one.
Yeah, and so when Peter and Harry are fighting, he says, I put him away before he could hurt anyone, but he's still hurting people. You, me, now Gwen through the professor with that abomination. Don't give him that power. He says, Pete, he gets in my head. He says, no more. He throws some pumpkin bombs in there and blows them up. And Warren goes, no, no, no. He says, and Gwen says, you got to save them. They're clones, but they're living beings. He's on it. Looks like he goes in and sees basically Glass has already killed Norman. And Gwen didn't look like he made it, but the Peter clone is still alive. And then Professor just loses his mind. And like you said, like, I wanted Gwen all to myself, no substitutes. What do you mean? You would never know that your wife was a clone while I held on to my Gwendolyn until we could leave together. And he's like, no, and realizing that at some point his Gwen was replaced and he was with a clone. And it just goes to black, and we go a year later and we see now this Peter, the clone Peter, aka going Ben, and now the Gwen clone, who Peter's been with, now going off into their memories and wanting a second chance. Ben and Helen Parker, and they go off, and MJ comes up, says, I get that you couldn't see them again, but I think they'll be okay. He says, yeah, they get a life, they get a new life. Where's my life? Like I have nothing. Everything was a lie. And he just left hugging MJ, and MJ actually trying to be consoling and just like, I mean, yeah, Peter, that is a way to like hard ending. Like he has literally his entire life is just ended up literally like
Yeah.
everything that he's built around during those years, just
His
gone.
best
And at one point, the
his
question
best
is like,
friend's
when was
gone.
Gwen? Yeah, when was Gwen replaced?
Yeah, best friend's gone. His girl's gone. Even though Harry's gone, he even says that Harry left MJ with millions, so she's set for life.
Yeah,
The only one who's left broken is Peter, and all he's tried to do is do right.
yeah, and Viva Jack saying agreed. MJ went off the handle. Holy smokes, Tiger! That wasn't the jackpot you were expecting. Very good, very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we will head into the '80s and Secret Wars the next time we are back. And but yeah, so chunky episode of bringing volume 275 to a close. So but as always, thank you all. And David, tell people how they can follow you.
You can follow me on all socials at The Phantom. You can follow me here on the Geek First Network as part of the wrestling show The Gimmick. We will be coming live to you this Sunday, going over some stuff that's going on in the WWE sphere, reviewing Wrestle Dream for AEW, doing our draft updates, and just all things wrestling. So, yeah, you can find me there, and you can find me on all socials at The Phantom.
Yep. And yes, you can. We want to thank, as always, our official sponsor, panelboundcomics.com. Use that code MarvelGUA at checkout to get $2 off every single order, or use the code MGUASIT for 5% off when you order 4 or more books together. You can follow me on all the socials at Chris Balga. You can follow this show on Twitter at Marvel A Podcast. You can follow the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Twitter at GUA Pod Network. You can email the show at marvelalliancepodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to tweet or email if you want to provide feedback, ask questions to answer on the show. Our DMs are open across the board. Continue to rate and review Marvel Alliance solo feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts. We greatly appreciate it. We want to thank you all for listening. Thank you all for joining us in the chat. Stay safe out there. And as always, as Stan the Man would say, Excelsior, true believers. All right, David, what do we got for post-credits discussion?
Okay, so I've had two people ask me about this. Latest one was Brent today. And I read somewhere else about this, but I haven't been able to lock it down. There have been unconfirmed reports that Joe Pantoliano, who played Ben Urich
Joey Pants.
he played Ben Urich in Affleck's Daredevil, will have a role in Wonder Man. We've already seen the likes of Chris Evans and Michael B. Jordan get a second shot at a Marvel character, and we've had some other people who have gotten a second shot at going from a no-name character here, a low-level character there, to something more major. With that being said, who would you like to see get another shot at a Marvel character?
I took a little bit to think about this one, but I finally came upon it, and I would say Michael Fassbender. I would like to see him get another shot, playing magnificently Magneto in the First Class series. I think I love him as an actor. I think he would find I don't know what kind of part right now, but I like him as an actor, and I think he could get another life in the MCU as someone not Magneto.
Yes, that's a great shot. I absolutely love him as well. My thought process with this is, and I hate to bring up the movie Morbius, Matt Smith is
Yes, the best part of
who I
that
would
movie.
like. Yes, Matt Smith is absolutely amazing, and
Got moves, man. Moves on moves.
I had two thought processes here. One's more realistic, and one is just tying in my other nerddom to it. So the more realistic one is I don't think that they would bring back any version of Green Goblin after everything that has happened, but I do think Matt Smith could play a good version of Roderick Kingsley's Hobgoblin if they decide not to go the Ned route. So
Okay.
if they don't go that route with Spider-Man and they bring in Hobgoblin, I think that just the way that he talks, his cadence, his laugh, everything else, he could pull off that Hobgoblin role. The other role that I would be okay with him playing is Son of the Purple Man. And just because
Son of the Purple Man.
he already replaced David Tennant once, do it again.
Goodness. Well, I think it can't get any more on the nose than that. So, but all right. Well, we will see you next time. I would say we'll hopefully see you next week, but you never know with Marvel these days whether they want to give us news or not. Now that we've pushed off we pushed off Wondermental next year, we're just gonna have to see from week to week what news they're gonna drop. But as you always know, we'll plan on being here next week, and whenever they drop the news, and we'll see you real soon. And again, see you next time. Bye bye.
See ya.